Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
Bill Eadie, Demolition.
Unbelievable, folks. A brand new Wrestling Insiders sneak preview is up next as we get ready for our Summer of 7. Stand by. As first reported to our Boston Wrestling MWF family on Patreon, big things are happening as we wrap up our biggest spring ever and kick off our Summer of 7 p.m. beginning Memorial Day night, when brand new Wrestling Insider episodes premiere at 7 p.m., 7 days per week. We also kick off our Make-A-Wish drive in high gear to help grant wishes to awesome kids that have been waiting over a year in many cases. After an Extreme Saturday with New Jack and a Demolition doubleheader with Axe, put the women and children to bed. As fresh from the Shawn Michaels A&E biography, Marty Jannetty returns for a Party with Marty tripleheader, Friday, June 18th, Saturday, June 19th, and then joining us again for the WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, Sunday, June the 20th, taping episodes of Wrestling Insiders, watch-alongs, and cyber autograph signings. It's going to be a huge weekend that demands fan involvement. Head on over to BostonWrestling.com for complete information and pre-ordering option. Let's help keep wrestling legends working and great wrestling talk show content being produced. We can't do it without you. Help us explode into summer, 7 nights a week at 7 p.m. Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
At Night of Champions 2020, Tribal Chief Roman Reigns successfully defended the WWE Universal Championship against his cousin, Jey Uso, in a must-see battle. Here is your chance to own a piece of Roman Reigns moments before battle on this beautiful limited edition autographed 11x14 poster direct from friends at WWE. It's number 19 of only 50 made. Includes WWE authentication hologram on the poster itself, suitable for framing and matting. You'll also receive a bonus Legends autographed 8x10 photo and an on-air shout-out on Wrestling Insiders as our thanks for helping keep wrestling legends working. Get this ultra-rare Roman Reigns autograph poster now. Boston Wrestling Sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE, NXT, and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans, welcome to a special sneak peek Wrestling Insiders, an early edition at 7 o'clock. For the rest of the week, we're still going to continue with our regular schedule as we pump up our transition to Memorial Day, when all of our Wrestling Insider episodes, 7 days a week, will begin at 7 p.m. as kind of a lead-in to the regular wrestling shows. We're going to be the pregame show instead of the postgame show. See if that makes it a little easier for the fans to tune in and enjoy us.
It should.
Well, I tell you, fans, Mr. USA Tony Atlas, it's been an odd situation with him. You talk about the Summer of 7. Sometimes I wonder if that's the brain cell count, but that's a different story for a different time. But one thing Tony and I agreed on big time was having this man with us on a regular basis. Demolition acts, Bill Eadie, the Masked Superstar. You were a Mongol at one time. You were a machine from Japan.
A little bit of everything.
You've done a little bit of everything. And I tell you, a guy I have all the respect in the world for, the first time I met you, I'm sure you do not remember it, was probably 7 or 8 months into wrestling for me. I was a freshman in high school. Tony Rumble ran a live event about a mile and a half from here at my middle school gym. And you were one of the headliners along with Honky Tonk, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, Hillbilly Jim, and that guy himself. It's like that game, The 7 Shades of Kevin Bacon. Tony Atlas was on that show as well.
I remember the promotion, yes.
Yeah. Tony brought you in a few times over the years. And again, as the fanboy in me comes out, I've noted many times, I look back at my favorites as a kid, I absolutely loved Demolition. I remember the day of my first communion. After the first communion, went into the Boston Garden that night. You guys worked Strike Force, Honky Tonk and Brutus Beefcake. Andre and Duggan were on the show. But I remember I got the big 24 by 36 Demolition poster that went up in my room. I had the Axe LJN figure, but the Smash one never got made, unfortunately.
Right.
So,
they were changing companies at that time.
They transitioned into Hasbro at that point. So poor Barry never got the residuals off of that one. But anyway, what we wanted to do, folks, now is kind of give you a little sneak preview. You guys are big on the WWF chronological order, and we're going to get there. I want to try and keep things on par with Barry. So maybe the Masked Superstar experience we'll save for further down the road. But we want to try and keep it in check with kind of how Demolition began. Bill was there a little earlier with the machines from Japan, and again, in our debut episodes, we're going to go there. But to give you guys kind of a sneak peek, we've had a couple of passings the past few weeks, but a guy that may not come up until further down the road until we talk about other territories that you worked was the passing of Don Kernodle.
Yeah, I got that news just the other day. Don was a fixture in the Mid-Atlantic area. It was aligned with Sergeant Slaughter. And I was very shocked to hear, a passing. But it's sad, and so many of our friends have passed on. Last week, New Jack was also died.
And from the time we were taping this, folks, it was 2 weeks ago on this very day, New Jack was just sitting in that chair.
Wow.
Is full of life, having fun, laughing, telling stories. It's just amazing how it came to an end. But for Don Kernodle, a very tragic ending as it's come out. Where he kind of chose to...
Yeah, when you don't know why he made the decision, you just have to go with it. I mean, there might have been... I knew that he had some health issues over a period of time, so maybe he got some additional bad news. And I don't know.
Well, one thing we always want to stress to folks is that, we have a lot of fun in professional wrestling. Sometimes these shows are fun, lively. Sometimes, we go back and the memories aren't so great, and we have some sad stories to tell. But the president of our organization, Dr. David Reese, he is an acclaimed psychiatrist. He works with a lot of major league sports franchises out in California. He is a resource that is open to anyone in our industry and even fans. He's easily accessible if you Google him. Again, Dr. David Reese. I'm sure you are familiar with him if you watch our shows. He's someone that truly cares, especially about the brotherhood that at least the way the brotherhood, the way it should be, as we know it to be.
Right.
If there is someone that is struggling, he can guide you in the right direction. He truly cares. I met him through the Cauliflower Alley Club. He has been a tremendous resource to me in my life, almost a godsend. So again, if there's anyone out there, whether you are in the profession, whether you just love the profession, he is an invaluable resource and a wonderful human being. But as far as Don Kernodle goes, Bill, before I ask you about a few memories for him, what I find fascinating is that, again, sometimes you try and tie things together. When John Cena Sr. and I did a tribute to him last week, think about how, if you put the pieces of the puzzle together, how he tied into WrestleMania. You go back to early 1983, he was involved in that Hot program, him and Sergeant Slaughter you mentioned.
Right.
Turned away thousands of people were, I don't know if you were on the show or not, against Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. And the Crockett said, geez, what if we put together this mega event, that sell it out, and then we go closed circuit with it? which turned into the first Starrcade. Fast forward a year and a half from the first Starrcade, you go to March 31st, 1985, WrestleMania 1. And look at what WrestleMania 1 has turned into.
Oh, yeah.
So that little program, with, I don't want to call it a little program and disrespect it, but that, regionalized territorial program with Don Kernodle and Sergeant Slaughter against Steamboat and Youngblood that, on paper just did really good business and turned away a lot of people, helped develop the first Starrcade, which helped develop the WrestleMania that millions upon millions of fans know and love today.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of an interesting factoid, and I hope he gets acknowledged for that outside of just us. You know what I mean? Because that's really a coup to him.
Well, the Mid-Atlantic area, the fans in that area, I'm sure, think fondly of him. Of course, a lot of the fans hadn't had a chance to see him work. But what impressed me is he was a good amateur wrestler too.
Really?
And just an all-around good guy. I got the news. A friend of mine from Richmond texted me and then called me later, and it's just right out of the blue. So it's just, I know you guys have talked about it, and Barry, my partner, and I have talked about it, because Barry was in the Mid-Atlantic area when Don was there too, and I was in and out from Mid-Atlantic to Georgia. And I can still see him. Every time I saw Don, he was smiling. I saw him at the last WrestleCade a couple years ago, and was looking forward to seeing all those guys this year. So
that's the thing about the fan reunions, the fan fests. You never know. Like the event that we have coming up on November 13th, we're going to be talking about that much more. What was originally back to the 80s WrestleFest, we called it. Now, because it's been delayed so long, it's actually going to turn into our 20th anniversary live wrestling event with it. So talk about a big night between having all the legends and the great in-ring action with the superstars and legends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow, all in one night at that building we drove by on the way here at Memorial Hall down the street here in Melrose. But, Road Warrior Animal, he was very excited about coming to the studio. Like you, he wanted to see if we could put together a regular series.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been a lot of fun. And then, my gosh, we weren't able to have the event because of the virus, obviously. And then we got that horrible news back in September. And now we'll never have the opportunity to have him. So, I remember someone, they kind of hurt my feelings. It was a fan. And people can write anything they want when they're at home online. But they almost said, it almost sounds like you're pushing death. What it is it's pushing reality. The wrestling business, it's a tough business.
Yeah.
You know what? Our brotherhood does not have, unfortunately, the lifespan of most careers and genres and anything like that. And just sometimes you never know when someone like New Jack, seemingly who seemed healthy, vibrant, lively, and then 6 days later I'm at Fenway Park at a Red Sox game, and I thought my phone was going to break. I got so many messages until I realized what was happening. You never know when it's going to be that last chance to shake that hand. I don't even know if people are going to do handshakes, but to get a picture, to pose, to share a memory with that superstar that you love so much.
yeah, and I don't think that you're pushing death. You're just stating reality. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of celebrities, a lot of sports figures pass, and we need to acknowledge them.
Right.
So,
Like Hank Aaron. I know he's a legend down in your area
Yeah.
from his time with the Braves. You'll never be able to go to a baseball convention and get a Hank Aaron autograph or a
That's right.
photo with him or anything like that. So it's the same in wrestling. It's just unfortunately, due to the nature of the beast that is the king of sports professional wrestling, we have a lot of guys that don't make it to 80. We have a lot of guys that don't make it to 70. We've seen a lot of guys don't make it to 60.
Yeah.
And it's this man right here that we always honor on this set, Paul Bearer. He was like a second father to me, and he passed away 5 days before a live event he was booked on at that building we passed. And the human being in me wanted to go to the wake and the funeral, but I remember it was X-Pac, Sean Waltman, 123 Kid, who I think you knew through Global.
yeah,
He was on the show too, and he said, you know what? If you ever thought about not being at this event, and going down to Alabama, he would have kicked your ass. And I said, I know. But I wanted to be there, you know what I mean? And
of course.
It took me several years, just because Mobile, Alabama isn't the most accessible city. The year WrestleMania was in New Orleans, the day after the WrestleMania show. It was a longer drive than I thought, but we drove from New Orleans to Mobile, and I finally got to at least, pay my respects at his burial place where him and his wife are. But, again, Don Kernodle, any memories? You said he had a great amateur background. Any memories of him in professional wrestling? Anything that stands out other than that hot feud he had that led to the first Starrcade?
Other than being, I can still hear Don laughing, see him smiling. I don't remember being around him when he was depressed or down, and that impressed me. He was always very professional. His brother was too, and he seemed to enjoy life. He seemed to enjoy wrestling. And being a local guy down there, I think he was pretty well received by the community. So, and then later on, I know that he became a deputy sheriff.
Yeah.
So he continued to work with the people and for the people. So.
Did you ever work him?
I only had a couple matches with him, yeah, because he was a heel and so was I.
Oh,
so.
okay. See, I'm not as familiar with that area as I obviously would be WWF, but what was he like to work with? Was he?
The couple matches I had with him and the matches I saw him work, he was excellent. He had good timing, was safe, protected his opponent, which we all should do.
Right.
I don't remember him doing many interviews, but there again, Slaughter was doing most of the interviews.
Well, I tell you, fans, again, I don't know when the name Don Kernodle will come up again. Unfortunately, his name is kind of in the news. We're trying to push our new 7 p.m. time slot. So these are the kind of memories, the legends we're going to talk about here on Wrestling Insiders. Again, Bill's regular series, it's going to have more of a Demolition WWF theme. But you know what? Again, Don Kernodle, he contributed to our sport. He gave his life to this sport, and he deserves to be acknowledged. And again, when you played that game, I think it's called The Seven Shades of Kevin Bacon, on how different actors and actresses have all come back to work with him. If you go backwards from how WrestleMania came to be, the big idea to go with a closed circuit type event to top off a big live event came from Starrcade, and the first Starrcade idea came from that massive sellout crowd and thousands turned away for Kernodle and Sergeant Slaughter against Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. So you know what? I think fans should remember him for that one factoid alone. Every time you watch a WrestleMania, WrestleMania might not quite be what it was if there wasn't that first Starrcade, and that first Starrcade might not have been what it was if it wasn't for that hot program. So I think that's a great way to remember him, if nothing else.
Oh, yeah.
All right, wrestling fans, you've heard it from the man himself, Bill Eadie. We've got some great programming coming your way, some great stories, some great memories. I am very excited, and it takes a lot to put a smile on this tired, overworked face. Again, we're going to have a regular time slot this week at 10 p.m., the regular shows, and then next week, beginning on Memorial Day, the Summer of 7 begins. For my friend Bill Eadie, I'm Dan Marty. We'll see you at 10 o'clock with another brand new Wrestling Insiders. See you then.
The World Wrestling Federation was live at Kaling Indoor Stadium in Kaling, Singapore, Sunday, May the 28th, 1995. In the opening contest, Quang beat Doink the Clown. The Smoking Guns with the win over Men on a Mission. Shawn Michaels defeated IRS. Kama victorious over Aldo Montoya. WWF Tag Team Champions Owen Hart and Yokozuna retained the titles over Lex Luger and Davey Boy Smith via disqualification. Adam Bomb beat King Kong Bundy. And in the main event, The Undertaker with the win over Bam Bam Bigelow. If you were in Kaling Live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep wrestling legends working in our eBay store and on our world-renowned Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out.
Boston wrestling sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll Journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.